Brienne is there. Happy Friday. You guys are fantastic. This is exciting. Hi, Carol. Hope you're doing well, too. I love doing this. I love getting the opportunity to be able to serve and be in front of all of you fine people and just talking about the business and growing your business and some of the challenges that we've been facing and things that we've been going through. And I looked through the home care pulse, so you may get some passion from me out there as I was looking through the home care pulse, because I looked at our industry turnover ratio, and it has gotten worse from what it was. In years past, it was like 65 to 70% turnover ratio. Now the caregiver turnover ratio as a nation is 82%. 82%! It's horrible. It's horrible. And when I looked at the top 10 causes of a caregiver and the complaints that caregivers have, the number one complaint above all else was inconsistent hours, and they couldn't get a full-time schedule. That is the number one complaint. And everything that I've been saying now for 7 years, my 7-year anniversary of starting Hurricane Marketing Enterprises is next week. So for 7 years now, I have been talking about the need to increase our minimums to 20 hours a week, the need to give caregivers full-time or part-time schedules where it's 20 hours with one client, 20 with another, or they're getting 40 hours with one client. It couldn't have been louder when I had heard that. And so, it's something, just some food for thought. I will come back with other webinars, I'm sure. I'm putting together some amazing webinars for our home care revenue builders coming out in 2 weeks, where I'm going to go through a lot of stuff from the home care pulse and how to be able to overcome this challenge. But this is a great halftime, right? The Q2 is almost over, and it's shocking when you think about it, because it makes me think, even myself, like I sit down and look at my business, what's the revenue, what's the bank account look like, what's the profit margin, what are we spending money on, advertising. I made some changes myself recently with things. I gave some people some raises and stuff, because things are going well here at Hurricane Marketing Enterprises. But I want to make sure that things are going well for you, too, in your neck of the woods, and that's why I created this webinar. So Q2 is almost over. Today is the 14th of June. We got 2 weeks left in the quarter. Are you ready for the second half of your year? Let's take a look at what we have to do if things aren't going the way that you wanted it to turn things around and get the business to where we want to be, to make 2019 a landmark, monumental year for us all. And something I just want to point out to each and every one of you, obviously, is the Millionaires Boot Camp coming up next month. It's almost sold out. We already have 125 people. 150 is max, so there's only a few spots left. You definitely want to grab that, because it's going to be amazing. Talking about scaling your business to multiple 7 figures, even 8 figures, how to run multiple locations, creating preferred provider group, hospital marketing, care coordination, which helps to increase our retention of caregivers, and so much more. And if you've been to a boot camp before, this is also going to be completely different. We have breakouts for marketing reps, breakouts for business owners, breakouts for our clients. Make sure you register and get to that boot camp. It's going to be incredible. And at the end of this presentation, which I let the slide out, there's a slide missing here, that's my fault. I'm going to give you a free gift for being on this webinar if you decide to move forward with us with working on stuff, because we have a sale and everything. And I'll tell you about that at the end, a free gift for you for being on this webinar, and I always like to throw out there for everyone. So, for those of you who are new to me and don't know who I am, as you heard me say before, next week, June 20th, will be my 7-year anniversary of helping healthcare, home care business owners scale and grow their business. Multiple 7 figures over and over again, and it's just been an amazing journey this whole time, being able to serve each and every one of you. I was in Atlanta last week speaking to a group of home care business owners. Next week, I'll be in beautiful Las Vegas to celebrate my anniversary, to celebrate Nicole's birthday. It's her 40th birthday. Shh, don't tell her I told you that. She's 29, right? But it's her birthday, so I'm going to celebrate that with her, while I also get the beautiful opportunity to train business owners there in Las Vegas. And so that's who I am. And something that I want you to know is that when I used to run my own home care company, I learned very quickly that I could run my business the way I wanted to run it based on how much referrals I had coming into it. If I had no referrals coming into my business, or take a step back, if you're listening to this and you don't have referrals coming in, and you come from this mindset, this school of thought, I have to get caregivers before I can start marketing, you have to realize it takes 2 to 3 months to get referrals. It doesn't just happen overnight. You also have to realize that from a caregiver standpoint, this is this industry statistics throwing out there to you. If a caregiver comes in and fills out an application and you put them through orientation and they get hired, if you don't get that caregiver working within 3 days, you will probably never get that caregiver working for you because they're working for someone else. So you have to make sure you have referrals coming in. That's why I always say referrals equal freedom. And I say this on every webinar. I say this every time I speak at an event. And I'm going to tell you right now, write that down. Referrals equals freedom. When you're looking at the bottom line for this quarter, referrals equals freedom. When you're looking at the caregiver retention rate for your business, referrals equals freedom. When you're looking at your bank account and if it's not where you want it to be or where it should be for a business that's been around as long as your business has, referrals equals freedom. I was speaking to one of my mastermind clients on Tuesday, and when I was talking to her, she was saying that one of the biggest changes she realized this year is that her customer, the client that she services, she doesn't do companion level care anymore. She doesn't do minimal hours anymore. The reason why she's at a 20-hour minimum is because all the clients that she's been targeting since working with me in the program have been people who are medically complicated. So she targets the medically complex client. And when you look for the medically complex client in your area, those are the people that truly, genuinely need home care or something else, i.e. sell their house and move into an assisted living, sell their house and move into a nursing home. They need something in order to be able to live. That's the kind of referrals that you want to generate. And that's what I'm here talking about today. And so over the years, this is why I started my company, Hurricane Marketing Enterprises. So again, for those of you who are new to me, this is your first time hearing what I'm saying. This is my company. We're here live in my office in New Jersey, where I'm going to write a lot of stuff on the marker board behind me to give you additional content and watch this live with me. And, you know, the movement that I like to call it, the movement is the things that I've been doing over the last 7 years, changing lives around the country. And I'm sure you can relate to some of these folks. This lady is in North Carolina. She was a Medicaid agency owner, and she had regulation changes that made the Medicaid reimbursement to be so slim, she was worried about keeping her business. And then after investing with us, we helped her to grow her private pay to help offset and literally saved her business. And this is a photo of her getting an award at the boot camp in Houston several years ago, where there wasn't a dry eye in the room as she was sharing her story about how she almost went out of business, but then she moved forward doing the things I'm going to teach you to be able to scale and grow. And I want you to, for those of you out there who accept Medicaid, you can probably relate to what she went through. This is one of my clients in Maryland who's out there just crushing it right now, just dominating his marketplace. This is another one of my clients. This is actually the client that I was talking about a little while ago from Colorado, whose business is completely different from where it was before she started working with us. No more minimal cases, no more less than 20 hour, no more companion, only taking care of the medically complex client that if it wasn't for their services, they would probably have to move into a nursing home. And then this lady's in Pennsylvania, and this gentleman is right here in New Jersey running a multi-million-dollar business. And, I'm just sharing these statistics with you because this lets you know that what I'm teaching you, it works. It's not easy, but neither is owning a business. Owning a business is difficult. Getting new clients is difficult. Getting new caregivers is difficult. So the reward of owning the business and generating a lot of revenue and keeping people at home out of the hospital, that is the reward for a lot of work. But when you put the work in and you do the things that I'm teaching you, that's what you can expect to see, a 27% increase in your client census. You can expect to see a 63% increase in your weekly billable hours when you do these things, and you can expect to see a revenue growth 5 times what the industry average is. I looked at it in Home Care Pulse. It's still pretty much 7 to 8% is the industry revenue rate of growth year to year. Our clients grow almost 37% the revenue they did the year before by following it. So again, when you do what I'm going to teach you, when you do this stuff, you can have the same kind of result. It's not easy, but to grow your revenue by $600,000 more than what you did, it's not going to be easy, but the juice is worth the squeeze when you look at profit margin and everything else. Basically, I'm teaching you how to add $100,000 to $120,000 to your bottom line net after all is said and done when you do these things here, which is a full-time annual salary for an executive, right? So that's what we do at Hurricane Marketing Enterprises here to help you help them. And my friends, nobody wants you to be more successful than me. That's why I do these webinars. That's why I'm here for you, because when you're successful, you spread the word, and that's what helps me. I live off of the reputation of what I've done for all of my clients during these last 7 years. And so I am here to serve you as we go through these things now, because you have to take a look at it. How can I turn things around? Q1 is almost over. How can I turn things around, right? And so if I want to have a good finish to this year, there's some things I got to step up and do that I'm currently not doing, and this is it. And so again, at the end of this webinar, that's where the free gift slide is. I put it in there. There will be a free gift for those of you who are on here, and I'll tell you how you can get the free gift when I'm finished with the webinar, so hang tight to the end for the free gift. But let's get into the meat and potatoes, shall we? All right, let's get into it. And I just want to see here. I got a lot of questions and stuff too. So happy Friday, Denise. You're wonderful. You guys are just so nice. You guys are so wonderful to greet me and wish me happy Friday and stuff. You guys I love you guys. I really, really do from the bottom of my heart. You are who motivates me to do what I do so I can continue to serve you and put together this content for each and every one of you. So thank you for all being on here live with me today. All right, and so this is what I'm going to cover with you. All right, warning, Q2 is almost over. So if my business isn't where I want it to be and the year is half over, I still got 6 months to turn things around, but what do I got to do? And so we're going to go through these 6 things with you. We got to go where the business is. What do we have to do week to week with our activities to get in there? We have to create power partners, which is so vitally important. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. We have to separate ourselves from our competitors because many of us are in a marketplace where, like you saw all those clients who are happy clients of mine, every one of them is in a major city market area for the most part, and they have at least 50 competitors, but most have 200 or 300, even 500 competitors. So how the heck am I supposed to get these medically complex clients that you're talking about when I have so many competitors? That's differentiating. We're going to talk about that. Getting past the gatekeeper, because if I'm trying to get business from accounts and I'm not in an account the way that I should be, well, they're probably already working with somebody else. So how am I going to be able to get past that gatekeeper, develop the relationship that I have to get the referrals when they're already working with somebody else and they have a no soliciting sign? And I know how this feels. For a lot of us, going out and marketing is outside of our comfort zone. For a lot of us, the thought of going to a place and asking for a social worker and she doesn't want to see us, she doesn't make time for us, and we get shot down, that is very defeating. And so it's something that for me personally was very easy and it came naturally to me, but I have to remember that I am a unique 4% of the population. The majority of people doing that, or the idea of doing that, is very frightening. And so that's why I'm here to help train you, to give you the confidence so that when you do show up, it works, and you can get past that gatekeeper, you can develop the relationship, and you can confidently ask for a lunch and learn. And to do a lunch and learn the right way, I'm going to teach you the 25-minute lunch and learn on this session here with you, because when you do a lunch and learn correctly, it results in you getting referrals, and that goes back to more referrals equals freedom. And there's a lot of other things that we can do, but if we can get the referrals, that can start the turnaround of getting our business from where it currently is to where we want to be. And so let me just check out here a question again. Oh, I love marketing. Deborah, I love you. That's right. People who love marketing, it's fantastic. But Deborah, you and I are not the norm, okay? You and I are the atypical, right? That means not normal. Most people despise marketing, and that's the truth. And the reason why we despise it is because we don't understand it, and that's why we're here today. So the next thing I want to go over, let's just start right with where to go. And this you may have seen before. This is straight from Home Care Pulse. This is the 2018 Home Care Pulse because the data for last year didn't come out yet. That's coming out in the fall, but I will come back to it. But you have to understand that in our business, there's really only like two ways to get more referrals. It's either direct referral marketing or the internet. Every other program out there, billboards, the newsletters with like the senior services, getting an ad in there, which is more like a technicality, like you kind of have to do it, but it doesn't produce the way people hope it. I see people do television ads, and I've seen some big franchises. I saw a Home Instead commercial the other day. I've seen a Visiting Angels commercial before. I've seen a Right at Home commercial. Great for those three franchises, but nobody else really has commercials. And even for those three franchises, the problem with direct-to-consumer marketing, and the reason why I don't spend a lot of time talking about it, is we have an extra layer of difficulty to go through when it comes to marketing and advertising. So I can advertise the traditional advertising methods and say, I'm going to target all the seniors. And I want to put this out to all of the seniors. The problem is not every senior needs us right now. So you can do all of this advertising, putting things out there to people by a certain demographic, but until they actually have a need, they may not ever call you. And that's the reason why traditional advertising does not work for home care, because you can't just target a demographic. You have to target a demographic that has the need, because this is a need-based service. You heard me talk about my clients and how I work with them, and we work with them to help them to find the medically complex clients. Well, how do we help them find medically complex clients? It's by going to these places that you see on the screen. You have to get the referrals from the places that have the medically complex clients who need the help right now. I am not a big fan, and I used to remember this when I was back in home care in the day, I am not a fan of having somebody that I have to chase down and call and email and follow up and show up at their house and are you ready to get started for services? Do you want me to staff this? Do you want me to get this going? And then 6 months goes by, and then they finally decide to use your services, and then all of a sudden they go on hospice and then they pass away. And I spent 6 months to get this person to come on services for 2 weeks. That's not efficient. That is not how to scale and grow a business quickly. What I would rather do, and I use the analogy of contractors very often, because although it's a completely different business model than what we do, the logic behind it makes a lot of sense. If there is something that is damaged in your home, or situation changes where now all of a sudden you and your spouse are pregnant and you're going to have another child, but you don't have enough bedrooms in your house, and you have to add an addition to your house. There's urgency behind calling that contractor. I always talk about my kids and how they broke the bathtub upstairs and it was leaking in my kitchen like 4 or 5 years ago now. There was urgency when I reached out to that contractor, when I reached out to that plumber. There was urgency in getting that repair fixed. I didn't care what it cost. It needed to be done, and I reached out immediately, and I didn't have to sleep on it and think about it. Now, on the flip side, right? There's the contracting situation where I wanted to redo my kitchen. And so it took my wife and I like 8 months to make the decision to actually do it. And we were talking to this contractor and this one and getting quotes and looking at the floors. And then we finally decided to do it. Now it ended up being worth it. But it took that contractor 8 months to get the sale, whereas when I had the need, it was like call, came out later on in the day, signed a document, began work the next day, and then 3 days later my house was fixed, and it cost me thousands of dollars, but it was worth it. So to the contractor, yeah, you want the long term. I'm not saying don't take those. That's why you have your internet leads. You'll still get those. But you also want the urgency, because from a staffing standpoint, you just heard me say, if I hire a caregiver today, if I don't get her working within 3 days, I don't have that caregiver available to me anymore because she's working for somebody else. So I like a steady flow of people who need help to start in the next 2 to 3 days coming in consistently. And how do I get that? By what you see on the screen. I got to get into a couple of skilled nursing facilities. I have got to get into a couple of assisted living communities. I have got to get the home health and the hospice going. That's what I call Power Partners. We'll come back to that in a couple of minutes. Going and get those referrals coming in. I've got to get those CCRCs, the continuous care time. I've got to get a couple of those referring me consistently. Geriatric care managers, even hospitals. You know, a little while ago, I filmed the Star of the Month for May, and the Star of the Month is one of my clients in Washington State who has grown their business by more than 600 weekly billable hours from January to now, which is huge growth. For some of us on this call, we may not even be at 600. They grew by 600. They're already doing over 1,000 hours. They grew by more than 50% from what they were doing in January to now, because their marketing rep got into a hospital doing the things that I'm training, and they're getting hospital referrals every single week. You got to know where to go. That's the start of it, and you got to have your foot in the door. But if you can get your foot in the door, and you look at the accounts that you have now, if you can just get 3 or 4 more places to refer you just twice a month, that's 75 to 100 more referrals, more inquiries, possibly more clients than what you're currently servicing right now. That is how you're going to turn your entire organization around. That's how you're going to get things from where they are right now to where you want them to be at the end of the year, by going to the right places for the business. And that's why I always start there. Now, some great research. You can go to Medicare.gov to find out which one of these places that are Medicare recipients, where they receive Medicare funding, who has the most amount of patients to send to you. That's a good place to do some research. Another great research website is skillednursingfacilities.org. skillednursingfacilities.org. You can do a search with your zip code, and I guarantee you'll find 20 to 30 places or more in your service area that will allow you to be able to go out and then qualify. And this is all stuff that I teach people in our programs on how to do. But when you know where to go, that's a starting point. Then you got to qualify and find the ones that have the highest potential to send you referrals. All right? And so that's the very first thing. You know, you take a look. Where's my business coming from? If I don't have business coming from these places, that is where for the next 6 months I'm going to spend a lot of my time to get that business. If I want to grow my business, Q2 is almost over. Am I ready for the second half of the year? If the answer is no, and I don't have the referrals coming in, then I got to go to this list right here and get into a couple of places that I'm currently not to increase the referral numbers that I have. That's the first thing that I have to do. All right? Moving forward. The second thing, what do I have to do now? All right? The road to success, it is a journey, and it is something that you will be doing over and over and over again. You will always be analyzing. You will always be taking a look. Your business will always change. The clients that you're currently serving right now today will not always be your clients. The client that you're serving right now today will be with you temporarily. You have to make sure there's a pipeline of new clients coming in. So what do I have to do for my time? Because I don't have time. Some of us on here are marketers. Some of us on here are the business owner who do the marketing ourselves. How can I spend my time as efficiently and effective as possible? This is what I call the formula for success. All right, so if you're the business owner doing the marketing, $15 to $25 people face to face every single week you need to speak to in person, not on the phone, not on an email, not a written letter. You need to drive to their place of business. You need to sit down and have a 5 to 10 minute conversation with 15 to 25 people face to face. That is what you have to do in order to be able to develop the relationships in these accounts. Nowhere to go. Go there and talk to the people and develop a relationship. This is for the owners. I'm going to say owners. All right. If you don't have a marketing rep, that's what you have to do. Now, if you're the owner and you don't have a lot of marketing rep, I also know that you probably don't have a lot of hours, which means you don't have a lot of clients, which this can be accomplished in, say, 15 hours a week. That's all you got to do. And you grow the revenue to over $1 million, then you can afford to hire a marketing person, and then they can do it. Or, do you know what I really love? I love when I work with an owner who's never marketed before. Revenue is below the $1 million. We start working with you. We help you with executing this formula for success that I'm going to continue to write out. And then I turn you into somebody who loves marketing, and then you hire a scheduler, you hire a recruiter, you hire office people to run your operations so that you can be out there on the road 30 hours a week. I'll get you to $5 million a year doing that. I've done it with many clients, and I know I can do the same thing with you if that's who you happen to transform to after you figure this out. Now, my marketers, some of us on here are marketers, and I love you guys too. If you're a full-time marketer, I want you to see 35 to 45 people face to face. All right, because you have 40 hours a week, and so you should easily be able to see 35 to 45 people face to face each and every single week. So it's not a crazy number. It is very attainable. As a matter of fact, all of the stars, right? I'm going to show you something. Let me see if I can do this without destroying my computer and losing you. I'm going to walk down the hallway here. So those of you who are with me on my webinar, you can see all these stars. All right, this is my hallway. This is success. You see all these stars behind me up here? All of these stars. These are all people who have grown their business exponentially during their time with me. Let me make sure I can see that. Let me see myself. There we go. Turn it back on. Hang on. All right, you can see. So you see all these stars? You see all these stars right here, right? All of these stars going all the way down the hallway. All these stars. These are the most successful people that have worked with me since 2014 when I started doing the Star of the Month. Every single one of those folks, every one of them has done this program, gone to see this number of people, just like I said, and most of the people on there are business owners, not marketers. Some of them are marketers. And that's at 35 to 45 face-to-face visits that we're talking about right there. But I am very excited to have just been able to show that to you because a lot of people don't understand just how many people we've helped to be able to do this. So I know what I'm talking about with these numbers right here. Let me get another color here. All right, so business owner or marketing rep, you also have to do one networking event every single week, one N. Why do I say you have to do a networking event? This is where we create power partners. This is where we get our foot in the door in the referral sources that were on the last slide. This is where you're going to spend your time making that initial connection, that initial contact, and then going into the accounts later on to get past the gatekeeper. You have to go to a networking event every single week. On top of this, you also have to go to one community event, one CE. Now, a community event could be a vendor fair, a health fair. Could be a continuing education, CEU class for social workers, for discharge planners, for nurses, for doctors, etc. Could be, I said a vendor fair or a health fair. It could also be some kind of function at a church where you're speaking to a group or something at a senior center of that nature where you're speaking to a group of people who could potentially become clients for you. That's totally fine. We got to do at least one of those every single week. In addition to this, we also have to do one sponsored activity. Every single referral source type that you saw on that last slide where I was going through the places to go for business and all of that, every single one of those places has an activities person, has a specialist, has somebody whose job it is to do activities for the residents, for the people who live in that community, people getting rehabilitation to get back on their feet. You need to be sponsoring an activity in those accounts every single week so that you're actually earning the business. It gives you a reason to come in there. It gives you a purpose to develop a relationship with all the people that work there and get past the gatekeeper. All right, we're coming back to that again. And then the last one of these is you also have to do one L&L, which is a lunch and learn. Every single week of the year, you got to do a lunch and learn. You have to be in front of an audience of people who don't know you, who really don't know home care. I'm going to pause here for a second as I say this. And you may think to yourself, well, not everybody knows home care. No, they don't. Unless somebody has actually worked in our business, they don't know home care. And nobody knows that better than me, because when I used to do my lunch and learns and I would talk about our transitions and how we take care of somebody and we transition them from your level of care to our level of care and what we do to keep that person home, they were shocked. Their mouth hung open. Wow, it's amazing. You do all this. You do all that. They really don't know home care unless they worked in our shoes, which means 99% of the people you're speaking to, they're familiar with the concept of home care, but they don't actually know it because they never walked in our shoes before, and that is powerful. That's how we overcome. And in order to do that, we got to do a lunch and learn every single week. Now, when you add all this up, this equals success. And that's why I call it the formula for success. Now, the good news, marketing reps, 35 to 45 face-to-face contacts, owners, 15 to 25 face-to-face contacts every week. The good news on this, your networking event, you could talk to 3 or 4 people. That counts towards this number. You can go to a community event and speak to 3 or 4 people. That counts towards this number. You can sponsor an activity and talk to 2 or 3 people in that account while you're there, blanketing the account properly. That counts towards this figure. And you could do a lunch and learn for 5 people, and that counts towards this number. So to the business owners, this is why people are so successful with my program when they do the things that I'm talking about, and they do it consistently, and they know what they're talking about, etc. This is why my clients are so successful, because this is very attainable to get these numbers to be able to get the referrals that you're after. So again, if your business isn't going where you want it to go at the beginning of this year to now, the halfway point, you're going to have to do a little bit more work. I'm not sugarcoating anything. This is going to take work. You got to do a little bit more work, but the juice is worth the squeeze with the effort that you're putting forth to be able to make this happen. Next thing I want to go over with you. Oops, it's not advancing. Come on, baby. See what we got. There we go. Power partners. So let me erase the formula for success. So now I know what I got to do. I know where I got to go. So now let's talk about the power partners. This is something I tried to do on the webinar that didn't really work out last time, so you can see this here. This is what I call the 3-legged bar stool of home-based providers, all right? Home providers, all right? Okay? So home-based providers, you have the 3-legged bar stool. Imagine this is your bar stool like this, all right? You have home health, you have hospice, and you have private duty. Okay? Home health, hospice, private duty. These are our home-based providers. These are the people who take care of folks in the home. And this is our Tier 1 power partnership. What I love about this, and this is something that a lot of people miss and don't understand, we all can refer each other patients back and forth. Now, you may be thinking, well, Steve, I'm a private duty provider. How can I refer home health? It's real simple. When you have somebody that ends up going to the hospital, somebody ends up going to the rehab, somebody that ends up going to a nursing home while they're on services with you, and then they come back onto services, you would rather the home health company that you have a relationship with, that you know those nurses, you know the therapist, you know the administrator, and all the people that run the business. I would rather my patient who's going to come home on home health anyway, I would rather them come with somebody that I know and trust to do it right, to take care of my patient and keep them out of the hospital, than some random person assigned from a social worker. That's how I can refer home health if I'm a private duty. Hospice, now maybe my business was a little bit different. We had over 100 clients on our census. So once a month, once every 2 weeks, one of my patients were told by a physician that they should consider hospice, they need to go on hospice. But my caregivers communicated with us every time somebody was put on hospice. And I'm sure, and you can ask yourselves this too, I'm sure as I'm saying this, you're like, yep, so-and-so was recommended for hospice, and my caregiver told me that. Again, call the hospice that I'm working with, and I'm going to refer them and say, hey, Vitas, hey, Odyssey, hey, Care Alternatives, and Ascend, and all these other hospices of the Comforter, and all Good Samaritan. There's so many hospices around the country. We work with hospices. There's so many hospices around the country. I'm going to call my client. I'm going to, offer whatever help I can do, and I'm going to say, this is the two companies that I work with. I think you should speak with both of them and go with who you feel most comfortable with. They have great nurses. They have great this. They have great that, because I'm working with them, versus a hospice that I have no connection or contact with. And in some instances, I've seen hospices and home health, when we don't have a relationship, I've seen them kick us out and say, oh, we got it. And they don't. They don't, but they say that because they don't understand it. And so then they do something, and then the person ends up getting pain and suffering that they didn't need, that it was avoidable if I had a relationship with these two and I'm referring them. Now, obviously, home health can refer us and hospice can refer us, but it's a two-way street, and that's why we want to create these power partners. What else do I want to do with these power partners? These folks are getting referrals from somewhere. They have contracts with physicians who are medical directors. They have contracts where they provide care in hospitals, where they provide hospice in hospitals, in nursing homes, in the places that I'm trying to get into. They have relationships with these places. They go there regularly. They pick up patients. I could have a home health company. I was very tight with the Visiting Nurse Association of Central New Jersey, the VNACNJ, here in my market years ago when I had my own home care company. And I would go into the Elms of Cranberry. I would go into Care One East Brunswick, or Genesis Cranberry Care Center, or the Gardens at Monroe, which were all skilled nursing facilities that were my top referral sources. And I would see Susan, who was the nurse liaison from the VNA home health company in my area, and I would tell her I'm seeing these couple of patients, and she would be like, thank God that you're seeing them. I was going to recommend you anyway. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. If you sell it, let me know, because then that will change how we're going to handle things, because you take care of so much that buys us more time. Like, it was a working relationship, that liaison with myself, and every given week I would sign on 6 to 10 new clients that were going to be working with her company and mine together, and we partnered up. We would talk to the family sometimes together. These were all things that we did as the power partnership. We also would collaborate on events together. We would promote each other's events. We would endorse. We helped each other get into places that we're not in. Sue used to love me from the VNA and Schwick. Are you getting referrals from this place? I'm going there later on. I want you to help me with these too, because when she saw a medically complex client who had a high likelihood of being readmitted to the hospital, She knew that this person's going to need more help than what we can offer, and that's when she called me. So she wanted me to come into the places where she was getting business that I wasn't getting business. That's power partners. All the things that you can do together. You've got to create your power partnership. When I do my fast start classes, when I do the Hurricane University, and I'm training all of our clients, I say to them, there is not one thing in my program that will have a greater impact on your referral lead generation than power partners. So if you don't have power partners, I think about Gus, who's probably on here live with me right now. I wonder if Gus is on here. I always got to look at the attendee list sometime. Is Gus on here? He's got to be over there in holding it down in Kansas, baby. Kansas, all right? We got Kansas represented on here. Gus, you are on there. I knew it. I was talking to you, Gus, like 3 weeks ago, and you're telling me how you grew your business. The hours are higher than they've ever been, and you're full time in it now, and all this other great stuff. And I said, how are you doing this? And what did you say to me? You said, power partners, man. It's all power partners. That's how I'm growing my business, and I've been able to do this, and I'm loving life because he never has a bad day because he's got his power partners, and they're sharing and everything together. And the cool part about it is not only is his company growing, but so is the hospice and so is the home health that he's working with. And there's other power partners too, but this is the three-legged bar stool of home-based providers. And I got to stick and move here because the time is flying by, and I'm only at number 3 on all the things that we got to do. Now, the next one that's coming up is a very, very important one that a lot of people forget about and that they overlook, and that, my friends, is differentiating. You see this photo right here of everybody running, but you notice how there's only one person who's red, and that person stands out from everybody else? That's what we have to do. We can't just be the home care company anymore because there's so many home care companies out there. You know, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday here in New Jersey. New Jersey requires every private duty home care company to be accredited. As of this month, June of 2019, you have to be accredited, otherwise you can't be a home care company. Now, my particular client that I was speaking to, she's been in business for 10 years now, and she got accredited 8 years ago. And so she said to me, I used to be able to differentiate myself by saying that we're accredited, but now that everybody has to be accredited, how do I differentiate myself? I said, don't worry about it. I told her a whole bunch of stuff, and we're in the process of going through that and going into specialty programs. But that is exactly it. If you want to improve your business, if you want to differentiate yourself, you have to specialize. Let me make sure I spell this right. I think I spelled that right. Specialize, right? Does that look right? All right. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. Okay. There's only 200 of you watching me right now live on here, so no pressure, right? So specialize. I have to specialize in something to separate myself from all of my competitors. Now, I know there's a school of thought out there. People are like, well, but if I specialize in, we'll say, dementia, for example, Steve has specialized in dementia, but if I specialize in dementia, I still want the stroke patient. I still want the Parkinson's patient. I still want the orthopedic patient. I get it. But if you specialize in something, you go from being one of like 200, 300 people who do home care to one of like one, right? One of two that specializes in this program. Now, there's other programs, and I teach people all these different programs to differentiate and set yourself apart. There's a whole bunch that goes into it. It's more than just go after a disease, but that's the start. You know, people ask me all the time. I was in Atlanta last week, and again, every time I speak, people are like, why don't you do home care? Why don't you do home care? So because I love doing what I do. You know, I travel too much. I travel 25 weeks out of the year. Think about it. Last week, Atlanta. Next week, I'm going to be in Las Vegas. I'm home for 2 weeks. Then I'm going to Detroit, Colorado, and California the next 3 weeks before I take a month off to go down to Florida and be with my wife and my kids down there on the beach and chill out and not think about home care, okay? It's going to be awesome. But until then, I give you everything I got, and that's what I do. But if I were to run another home care business and start over from scratch, I would specialize in dementia, or I would specialize in strokes. Strokes is the number one cause of long-term disability. Strokes have the longest length of stay in a hospital nursing home. The average length of stay is 46 days in a nursing home. And like I said, the number one cause of long-term disability. I don't wish a stroke on my worst enemy. My mother had a stroke in 2015, and she had to come and live with me for 10 months, and I remember the road to recovery. I will say, by the grace of God, as a person of faith, I was glad that of all the things she could have had, she did have a stroke, because I knew more about a stroke medically than any other condition. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm a minister, a child of God, and I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner. That is who I am and what I do. But I know a lot about strokes. I know how to take care of a stroke patient. I know the road to recovery. I know what you have to do for it. The majority of my clients that we were taking care of had strokes, dementia, or orthopedic hip replacements. Those were like our three type of clients that we were taking care of. We had a lot of live-in clients. We had a lot of 24-hour-a-day clients. Our smallest client was 20 hours. That's why we had a 20-hour minimum. And we had maybe 4 or 5 of those out of the 100-plus clients we were taking care of at any given time. Our average billable hours per week per client was over 40 hours a week. So think about that. 100 clients, 40 hours a week per client, that's 4,000 hours, right? And it was higher than that because we were at 5,500 hours a week. So, it makes sense. Fewer clients. You don't have to be something that I believe in, and maybe this is faith, right? I believe in abundance. I really, really do. There is more potential business in every one of our marketplaces than we could ever possibly handle. I don't need every person that wants home care. I don't need every person that needs home care. I'm going to find, for my company, because I want to work smarter, not harder, fewer clients, greater need, greater attention to keep that person home. So if I have 20 clients, imagine it this way. This goes back to specializing, all right? So you see everything that I wrote there. I'm just going off the cuff here because I love you guys, all right? Check this out. And follow me. Instagram, Facebook, okay? And obviously those of you who are with me on GoToWebinar, follow me on this, all right? If I have 20 clients or 40 clients, 20 clients at 40 hours per week per client, this is 400 hours, right? 800 hours. Do your math right. 40 hours, 20 clients, that's 800 hours a week that I'm billing out. I could have the same either 20 clients at 40 hours a week to get 800 hours, or I could have 40 clients at 20 hours a week for the same 800 hours. Which of these two takes the most amount of time, effort, and energy to manage? This one, right? Because I'm taking care of 40 people with less hours. This means I need more staff because there's 40 people I'm taking care of instead of 20. This means it's going to cost me more money, which means that my profits are low. All right, and for all intents and purposes here, folks, okay, I just told you I'm a minister, all right? I preached on Sunday. I'm preaching again in a month. All right, Jesus is my Savior. So I say this to you because I love people. So put the moral compass down for just a second. This is just financially speaking. 800 hours with a lot of expenses means that my company is in trouble because I'm barely covering things as it is. If my company is in trouble financially and I lose a couple of these clients with all these mouths to feed and all this extra cost of running the business, and I eventually go out of business, what's going to happen to my clients? All 40 of them are going to have to find somebody else to provide services because I went under. Whereas this right here, this is fewer clients. I could manage 20 clients with myself plus 2 other people. So we're literally talking about 3 salaries. Myself as the owner, and I do the marketing and sales, and I visit my clients, and I get the referrals. I could have a scheduler and a recruiter who can do other office clerical things, and now I have 800 hours a week. This is super profitable with a national average of $25 an hour, depending on where you are. Some people are like, what, $25 an hour? No, that is what it costs. This is going to put you over $1 million. $1 million. And if you're not part of a franchise, you keep that royalty for yourself. That's $50,000 more in your pocket. This makes sense. Fewer clients. This is why you differentiate. Fewer clients, greater need. So as you're looking at your 6-month review, what do you look at? You want to take a look at what are my hours per week per client. If they're closer to 20 hours a week or even less, like I've seen some people with 15 hours, you've got to do something different. Because this is not smarter. This is working harder. Same results, working twice as hard as this. Let's find these folks. These are the ones with the greatest need. By the way, these are also easier to staff. You can give one caregiver 40 hours of work, and they'll keep the case forever. Whereas this case, you're constantly switching and changing out and everything else. So just think about what I said there. That is very important, but that's why this is the case for why you differentiate to set yourself apart from your competitors. So now let's get past the gatekeeper. All right, change and focus a little bit. This is the 5th thing we have to do. All right, I want to turn my business around. It's not going well, Steve. That makes a lot of sense. What you're saying there, man, I never really thought of that. I could have 40 clients at 20 hours a week, or I could have 20 clients at 40 hours a week. Either way, it's 800 hours, but one takes me twice as much time to take care of as the other one, and they all have a need. So it's not like they're not providing the need. I'm just helping those with the greater needs stay out of the hospital versus those who kind of sort of need home care. It's a little bit different model, okay? So now you got to get past the gatekeeper, and this goes right back to your power partners. There's only 2 or 3 ways to get past the gatekeeper. The easiest way is to have somebody who's already in the account. So I'll write this down here. All right, there's 3 ways to get past the gatekeeper. Number 1, power partner. As Gus and everybody else on this webinar who happens to be a client of ours can tell you, when you have a power partner and somebody is already in an account, that power partner, this is exactly what you can see me right here. I'm modeling this behavior. They walk in, oh, hi, how you doing? Good to see you, blah, 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 right? This is the sign-in sheet. They sign in real quick. I'm going to make rounds. This is Nick. He's with me. How are you? How are the kids? Okay, great. And then they literally go, that's how you get in the account. It is as easy as what I just said, and every single person who has done it before, I see some people laughing. I know you guys are laughing at this with your comments. Your comments are killing me. You guys are so great. Let's see what it says. My market is 19,000 people. Am I the only one whose screen is frozen? Oh, no, the screen is frozen. Oh, there's always a problem with the webcam. Well, let's see if I can get it back for you. All right, well, I'll bring in the webcam back. Hopefully it'll kick in any minute for you here. But anyway, first thing is to use your power partners to get past that. All right, you always got to use your power partners to get past the gatekeeper. The second thing, number 2, second thing is you got to do to get past the gatekeeper, see if you know somebody who works there. You don't have to know the social worker to get past the gatekeeper. You don't have to know the administrator to get past the gatekeeper. You just got to know someone who works there. You just got to know someone who works there. You could know a maintenance person. You could know a therapist. You could know a housekeeper or somebody else. There's so many potential people that work in all the accounts that we're trying to go to. What I always teach people and tell them is go on Facebook, go on LinkedIn, see who you're friends with who work in the place you're trying to get into. The story I tell is about how I got into Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in a few weeks versus 6 months like it normally takes to get into a hospital. And one of the reasons why I was able to get in there is because I went to high school with a radiology tech who happened to work at that hospital. And so what did I do? I became friends with her on Facebook. I was already friends with her, but I reached out to her, you know, did the usual thing, started liking her photos and commenting on things, like reestablished the relationship that once was. After about 2 or 3 weeks of doing this, I asked her where she worked. She told me the hospital. And I said, I go there probably about once a week, once every 2 weeks. Next time I come in to visit a client, I'll make sure I let you know. Maybe we can grab a cup of coffee. It would be great just to see you again. To which I did, to which she introduced me from that meeting to the director of case management. I booked a meeting from a meeting, and I scheduled a lunch and learn for all the social workers with the director that specific day. That's how you do it, by leveraging who you know to get there. The radiologist, she could never refer me, but she knows who does. And for those of you who've ever been to one of my boot camps, if you came to the 2.0 boot camp, where I do the social worker interview and I show these social workers who used to refer me business, and I interviewed them and they talked about why they refer who they do and all of that. Both of those social workers in that video talked about if you want to approach us, if you know somebody that we already work with, that is one of the best ways to do it, because I'll talk to you then because the other person kind of vetted you out. So leverage that. And then the last one of this is a tip here, is seek out the marketing rep. Every person makes this huge mistake of trying to get past the gatekeeper. I want to see the social worker. I want to see the discharge planner. I want to see this person and that person. And those are all mistakes. Why do I say that they're mistakes? They're mistakes because when you seek that person out, they may or may not be the right person. All right? And so that becomes a challenge. It's not a good thing when that happens. And so if you can seek out the marketing person, that's the person that goes to the functions. That's the person that goes to the networking events and the community events and all the other things that happen in our territory, in our area. I know the screen is frozen, folks, so you're going to have to deal with that. I apologize. I don't know what's going on with our internet. It seems to I do my classes all the time with the webcam, and it never freezes up. So only when we're doing webinar with this many people does it freeze up. But what are you going to do? So all that being said, you seek out the marketing person because everybody and their brother is seeking out your other connections and contacts. They're trying to get the social worker, trying to get her to meet with you. They're trying to get referrals. Whereas when you go after the marketing person, that person is at the places that we are. There's a lot of things we can do with them and leverage, and they are a connection on the inside that can help us get to the social worker that we're trying to see. And so that is hugely important, and that's why I say this for each and every one of you. So make sure you're getting past the gatekeeper. And then the last one, because we're at the top of the hour here, is this good stuff, folks? Are you getting good information out of this? I hope so. I hope so. You could let me know by typing yes, this is good. Because if it's good, then great. Good. I'm glad you're liking this, Kelly. Yes, Deborah. All right. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. So the reason why I say this, and this is the last one, is we got to do a lunch and learn. And you see that photo there? It's a gorgeous steak. No, you don't have to do a nice lunch and learn like that. But you do have to do a lunch and learn every single week. And so in a quick nutshell here, let me show you, for all my people on Facebook following me and Instagram, you can see this is the 25-minute lunch and learn. For those of you who can't see if you're on the webinar, write down 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and then 15 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. The first 5 minutes of your 25-minute lunch and learn should be about you and an overview of your company. Just a 5-minute brief overview of you and your company, the history, why you got into this line of work, why you started a home care company, your census, how many caregivers you have, a 5-minute overview of your company. The next 5 minutes should establish a problem. That's huge. You don't come in and just do a lunch and learn on home care. You want to establish a problem that's an industry problem that resonates with your referral source. So you got to do your research. There's a lot more into it. I'm just giving you an overview. These are the programs that we offer. This is why our clients are so successful, because when you know these things, you do the lunch and learn correctly, it gets you to lunch and learn, and then it gets you the referrals that you're after. But you've got to establish a problem in the next 5 minutes. And then the last 15 minutes shows how your company is the solution to the problem. That is enormous. That is huge. You have got to be the solution to the problem. All right? So you spend 5 minutes overview of your company, 5 minutes on a specific problem that they face, that they're dealing with each and every single day, and then the last 15 minutes should be on a solution, how your company is the solution to this problem, so that now every time they see the problem come up, that is when they should refer you. That is how you do the 25-minute lunch and learn, and you successfully walk out with referrals in hand. Now, this is an overview. This is some, I gave you some great content. All right? This is an overview. And so we're gonna stop here for a minute, and I'm gonna continue to go on. Yeah, now the mouse isn't working. All right, there we go. So now I came back. All right. So, and again, this is Chris in Minnesota following this program, killing it. This is Dawn in Michigan, who I'm going to see in a couple of weeks, killing it, following this program. This is one of our other clients, Caleb in Connecticut, who's killing the program in his neck of the woods. This is another one of my clients, Renee and Peter, down in North Carolina, and they're killing the program, following all these things that I'm discussing. This is another one of my clients, Chanel, who's also in North Carolina, killing it and following the program. This is another one of my clients in Connecticut, Dan and Suzanne, who are killing it, following the program. And it just goes on and 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 on. What I'm saying, folks, is when you do the things that I'm teaching you, and there's a lot more to it, this is just to get the referrals, a lot more in converting it, turning these accounts into long-term referral sources, and scaling and sufficiently providing the services and changing it. But as you can see, with all the things I'm saying, this is just the surface of everything. But you can see, if you do this again and again and again, this is why so many people are successful. That's why I always say to you, will you be my next success story? Because I know you will when you do all these things. And it's a lot of work. And so I told you before that we have a sale right now. I'm going to give you a free gift, all right? So the sale that we're having is on one of our most popular programs called the Fast Start. What is the Fast Start designed to do? It's designed to help you to start generating referrals in as little as 6 weeks. Many of the places that we're going to take 3 to 6 months to start getting referrals. But when you do the Fast Start, the way that I teach you to do it, it's going to help you to get referrals in a month to a month and a half from now. That is about as fast as you can get direct referrals coming in. Now, in the Fast Start class, it's 6 lessons. Lesson 1 is teaching you how to qualify accounts and where to go for business. Lesson 2 goes over how to set up your schedule week to week to make sure that you're going to be able to do the things necessary, that formula for success, so that you're going to be able to get the referrals. Lesson 3 is how to create those power partners, that 3-legged bar stool that Gus and all my clients around the country are doing. Lesson 4 is let's create some specialty programs that will differentiate you from all of your competitors and speak the language of our referral sources to be able to get the referrals that we're after. Lesson 5 is all about getting past the gatekeeper, how to properly do tours, how to qualify the accounts in person, and leverage things that we can do for our referral sources so that they want and are willing to refer us and give us the lunch and learn that we're after, which leads us to lesson 6, how to successfully do this 25-minute lunch and learn with the program, who the audience is, speaking points, everything. Phenomenal, the Fast Start. And you'll have access to it immediately. So if you say right now I want to do it, although the sale goes until when, Nick? Is the sale? The sale goes until the 21st. So 1 full week is the sale, all right, on the Fast Start class. In addition to all of those modules, which you'll have access to right away when you decide that you want to do it, you're also going to have 6 live classes with me. All right, so the Fast Start modules is worth $3,000. All right. My time, I lead the classes. There is no secret. There's no, it's not a coach. It's not somebody else. I run the classes. You will be with me on the class every week for the 6 weeks of this class so I can make sure that you fully understand everything that I'm saying here, and you can go out and you can actually execute it. That's part of the Fast Start class. And my time, I charge $500 an hour for my time because that's what I need to charge to be able to do it. So that's another $3,000 worth of stuff. Now, if you decide, yes, I want to do it during the sale aspect of this time, here's my free gifts for you. Number 1, I'm going to give you a year's worth of Home Care Revenue Builders. What is Home Care Revenue Builders? That's our online e-learning program. There's an archive with close to 100 hours of recorded videos, recorded documents, pieces of boot camps, webinars, and so much more, over 100 hours of content. You could literally, from now until July 14th, spend an hour, 2 hours a day and not get through half of the Home Care Revenue Builders content. And every month there's a new webinar and new content being updated and added in there. That's my free gift to you if you decide you wish to do it. The Home Care Revenue Builders for an entire year, folks, that costs $1,200. I'm going to give that to you for free for being on this webinar if you move forward with the Fast Start. The other thing I'm going to throw in is this right here, and that's a boot camp ticket. The boot camp is the event of the industry. Anybody who's ever been to a boot camp will tell you it's worth the investment. There have been people, some of those folks that you saw on the screens that I showed you before, have been to 4, 5, 10 boot camps, and they've grown their business by literally millions of dollars. My most successful long-term client has generated more than $20 million in revenue since they started working with us. That's $20 million in revenue, and that person, that couple actually, has been to, I think, 11 different boot camps. The boot camp ticket is $1,000. So if you decide that you wish to do the Fast Start with us, we're going to give you all the things from the Fast Start itself, which that in itself is valued at over $6,000, but it's only $29.99 for the Fast Start class. But now, during this sale, from this Friday to next Friday, if you decide to move forward, we're going to give you a ticket to the boot camp, which is another $1,000 value, and we're going to give you a year's subscription to the Home Care Revenue Builders, which is another $1,200 on top of it. So you're talking about $2,200 worth of stuff for free on top of it for the Fast Start. So you have our information. You can reach out to us, and I'll write it on here for you to see. You can call my office, but you can also go to it by doing this. This is our website. Home Care Marketing.net/start. Okay, that's the sale. You go there, you can get it online. Of course, we have payment plans. It's all described there for you. So if you can't afford the $3,000 at one time, we understand that. But you'll get all this stuff for free as my thank you to you for investing in this during our sale time. And I'll see you at the boot camp. And so I want to make sure and just leave you in closing with this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you're doing for our seniors, because you're helping these people stay out of the hospital. You're helping people stay out of nursing homes, and you're allowing them the I don't want to say luxury, but the ability to live in the comfort of their home for the rest of their days. Because I don't know about you, but I know when my time comes, I want to be at home. I don't want to die in a hospital. I don't want to die in a nursing home. I don't want to die, in a car accident or something like that. I would like to be able to go peacefully in the comfort of my home. And what we do as home-based providers, home care service providers, we allow that to happen. That is a win. That is a beautiful thing when that happens, and we're the ones that allow it to happen. I want you to be able to help more people so that they can have the same luxury and the ability for them instead of having to go to a nursing home. There's nothing wrong with nursing homes. I'm not trying to put down nursing homes, all right? But I believe a nursing home should be for rehab, to get back on your feet and get home, and home is where it should be. And so thank you for what you do for our seniors. Thank you for your time today. And if your year isn't going the way you want it to, and you want to turn things around, take action. Join me on that class. The next class is going to start the week after next as part of why we're doing the sale now. I'll put you in that class. I'm going to give you everything that you need so you can blow away the competition. All right? Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, from one father to another. Take care of your babies. All right? I love you guys. Bye.